Om Namah Shivaya. Hi, this is Amardeep from Gurgaon, and when it comes to my background, we can refer to our early episodes, first two episodes, where I have talked about my background briefly. And spirituality is my passion, and I am in corporate world. And this is regarding our spirituality-related podcast, where we cover different themes of spirituality or spiritual transformation in different episodes. In early episodes, we have covered themes like positivity, where we have talked about our energy creating our reality. And we have also talked about other themes like gratitude and forgiveness. This time, we are going to cover another important theme on spirituality, okay, or spiritual transformation, which is called self-love, okay. And we are going to talk about what is self-love and why it's important, and what are the tools and practices for self-love, and what are the benefits, okay. So when it comes to self-love, okay, this is nothing but loving yourself, okay. You're loving yourself, okay. You're prioritizing yourself, okay, and having a high regard for your happiness and well-being, okay. And you also have a high appreciation, self-esteem and self-respect for yourself, okay, which is self-love. खुद से प्यार करो, क्योंकि जब तक आप खुद से प्यार नहीं कर सकते हो, कोई और शायद आपसे प्यार नहीं कर सकता, okay. So this is again referring back to our earlier episodes, where we said universe is a giant cosmic mirror, right? And the energy you give or emit comes back to you. And that is why self-love is important. If you don't love yourself or respect yourself or have a high self-esteem for yourself, okay, you won't emit that energy to the universe. And the same energy won't come back to you. So you will come across situations when people probably don't respect yourself very much, or love you, or hold yourself in high esteem. That's because you're not emitting the right energy. If you don't respect and love and hold yourself in high esteem, probably you'll get the same energy back from the people and situations. And that's why it's very, very important to love yourself. And so I'll just refer to, a film, a super hit Hindi Bollywood movie, okay. Probably you might have heard of it, right? Jab We Met. Okay, so there is a very interesting and dialogue from the heroine of the film, Kareena Kapoor, and when she says that I am my favorite, मैं खुद की favorite हूँ. Now this is such a powerful statement to make. Okay, मैं खुद की favorite हूँ. She self loves herself very much. Okay, and that holds herself in high self-esteem, high regard, and a lot of happiness, okay. And she's a very bubbly kind of person, very happy kind of person, happy-go-lucky person, and she's obsessed about herself and she loves herself very much. So, and then I'll also refer to, one of the practices when you board a flight, right? So they tell you that if the oxygen level drops, okay, you first take care of yourself, you first put the mask on yourself, and then you put the mask on somebody else. Because till you don't help yourself, you can't help anybody else. That again is a brilliant concept of self-love. So you first protect yourself, first love yourself, put the mask, and then try to help anybody else. Okay, that's another example, of self-love we see in our, our day-to-day situations. Okay. Now let's talk about the tools and practices to take us to a next level of self-love, okay, or how do we enhance our self-love. Okay, the first one which comes to mind is acceptance and forgiveness. Okay, so we need to accept our flaws and past mistakes, okay, and forgive ourselves genuinely for them, okay, without being harsh on ourselves or without taking any harsh judgment. Okay, and you can refer to our earlier episode on forgiveness, on how to forgive yourself, right? Where you consider your past as your teacher and nothing else, which helped you to evolve yourself to what you are today. And forgive yourself for those mistakes. So that's one. Okay, and then the other tool is you have to focus on your passions. Okay, you have to focus on what makes your heart happy. Okay, or what excites your heart, which are your passions. Okay, which could be into music, which could be, for example, for me is music, films, traveling, and philanthropy, and off-roading, okay, and those kind of stuff. Okay, and obviously it will be different for different people. So focus on your passions, which really makes you happy. Okay, the other tool or the practice could be focus on your personal growth and your long-term goals. Okay, which could be things like focusing on your long-term goals like financial freedom, okay, or your career growth, okay, or focusing on your skill development, which could help your long-term goals, which could be on your IT skills, or your soft skills, or music, or something related to passion. Okay, so that's number tool. And the fourth tool is could be self-compassion and kindness. Okay, so we are kind and compassionate to others, but are we kind and compassionate to ourselves? So why not? We need to do that, because we can't be harsh on ourselves while being kind and compassionate to others. So that's also very important. Yeah, and the other tool is active care of your physical, emotional, and mental health. So you need to take care of your own health, right? So do those things and habits which takes care of your physical, emotional, and mental health. Okay, and then there are other smaller tools like setting boundaries for others. Okay, so that you take care of toxic situations and toxic people by setting clear boundaries. And other tool is you need to stand up for yourself, because if you don't stand up for yourself, who else will, right? So you should stand up for your own priorities, your own goals, your own interests, okay? And nobody else will do that for you. Okay, and last but not least, you also need to make sure that you don't seek external validations for yourself. The only person to validate your actions, your thoughts, okay, and your passions is yourself, your own conscience. So, for example, I don't at all seek external validations or external approvals, nor do I appreciate the same. The only person to validate myself is my own conscience. Okay. So, otherwise, if you know, get influenced by other opinions or other external validations, you will become a football to everybody else's opinion. So you have to stop doing that. Okay, and believe in yourself, trust your own instincts on that. Okay, so these are different tools or practices which you could use for enhancing your self-love. Okay, now let's come to the benefits of self-love practice. Okay, so there are 3 or 4 major benefits of self-love. First of all, you have a better mental health in terms of reduced anxiety levels, reduced stress level, no depression at all. You are much more happier. Okay, so that's one. The other is you tend to have better relationships because you value yourself and respect yourself more. You also tend to respect and empathize others, and others also tend to respect and value you and respect you. Okay, so that's one. The other is you set clear boundaries, as we discussed, which in turn reduces toxicity in your life. Okay, and last but not least, you tend to develop good habits. Okay, in terms of caring yourself better, in terms of better sleeping, better eating, dieting, and those kind of stuff. Okay, and these are the 4 major habits of self-love. Okay, thank you so much, and this is all we are covering for today in today's episode of podcast. In subsequent episode, we'll be covering other themes of spirituality. Okay, which could be on things like mindfulness, or affirmations, or meditations, and other themes. Okay, So nice meeting you, and feel free to put your comments on our video, okay, and also share or subscribe the channel so that you could get the subsequent episodes of our spirituality related podcast. Okay, thank you so much, and Om Namah Shivaya.